and I don't have my knife on me,
Nandina.
but if you scrape away the bark, you see how it's orange underneath? See how it's kind of orangish? Or the yellowish, or the more orange it gets, the more concentrated it is. This is a berberine, as I understand it. Now, if you're talking to a nurse, now look at the thing smaller now. If you're talking to a nurse, they immediately go, "Oh, well, yeah, it's berberine, blah 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 blah," and you're like, "Okay, great." So you can actually get that medicine off of there. I'm under the understanding that goldenrod has it as well. So if you don't have goldenrod, because it's an annual, berberine is in the Nandina, and it's a perennial. It lives here year round. They'll have saw palmetto berries, which are edible, and they're definitely medicinal. And they also have the core. And I'm not going to pull it out, but if you pull this leaf right here out, just give it a pull, the first inch of it is edible.
Huh.
Now, that being said, it's not a great food stock because you stunt the growth of the plant. You might even kill some of them. So, you know, I probably wouldn't go crazy with that. But if you can find one that's making berries, and I have, those black berries go for like $50 an ounce.
Yes.
I had a weird postnasal drip bacterial infection that went on for about 2 months because I don't treat things. I just went, well, it's gonna go, it's gonna go, it's gonna go. And then finally one day I said, you know what, I'm gonna megadose vitamin C and get rid of it. So I did basically 15,000 milligrams of vitamin C within 3 hours, which, by the way, no problem, totally do it all the time. It's not gonna hurt anything. Except I died, but then I got better. But anyway, after that, it didn't knock it out, and I realized vitamin C wasn't the answer for this one. I felt fine, everything was good, but I still kept the thing, and I got flu-like symptoms right after that, and I went, oh, that wasn't the answer. Immediately, I took a tincture of Biden's alba that I had. Should be able to find that around here somewhere. Anywhere you can't find Biden's alba in Florida. But Cedar rhombifolia is another one that's an antibacterial. The Biden's alba knocked it out in one day.
Oh, of course it did, yeah.
And now today I don't have it. It was so bad that for a month my ear would wake up with my ear clogged. And now after one day of Biden's alba tincture, it went away. So Cedar rhombifolia, it's serrated to about the halfway point. It looks like a little spearhead, and then it's smoothed all the way to the stem. Okay? There's another one called Cedar acuta that will grow around here. It's serrated all the way to the stem. They call this one rhombifolia because when the leaves get larger than this, they start to look like a rhombus. Okay? Now this is what the plant looks like when it's tiny and anemic. Okay? This same plant could grow to this size, have tiny little oval-shaped leaves and huge rhombus leaves at the bottom of it. So there's one. There's one. All of these are totally edible. Like you see, I just do it in my mouth. It tastes good. And what we'll do is tomorrow for the greens, instead of buying greens, we can come out here and we can responsibly harvest a bunch of Cedar rhombifolia. So how do you responsibly harvest? Now, another thing about Cedar rhombifolia is that it'll make little tiny stems, and these little stems will stick off the stem, the main stem, and there'll be a little flower on the end, a little buttercup, you know, yellowish, orangish flower. And those are edible too. Now, Cedar acuta, the flower is right on the main stem. So that's the difference. One sticks out on a stalk and one sticks right off the stem. But both of those are edible, both of those taste good, and both of those are also antibacterial if you use them in a tincture. And boy, let me tell you, I'm a definite believer because that stuff works for me every time. Salad. This is called poke salad or poke weed. Now, poke is so toxic you're not supposed to handle the root without gloves on, right? But pokeweed is also a very potent antiviral. It is known to, and you can't take my word for this, and you can't put me, on a court of a law in a state that I've misled you in any way. But this has been anecdotally known to kill Ebola and HIV in the laboratory. That's how, but the thing is you got to be real responsible when you use this. So I have some herbalist friends that have just now been dabbling with it, and they're like 1 drop per glass of water, maybe 2 drops per glass of water. You don't want to poison yourself with it. But then you're not supposed to feed more than 1 or 2 berries to anybody ever. And I've seen kids eat 3 berries and not even notice. So I have no idea. I was like, what did you just do? You know.
Oh my God.
Okay, so, and this was because we didn't know the plant was there, we didn't know it was berrying, we didn't know the kids were there, and all of it just sort of happened at the same time. So right next to it is its other super awesome antiviral. Does anybody know what that is?
Elderberry?
Yeah, brother!
Oh,
That is elderberry?
That's a tiny one.
This is the tiny elderberry. Now, elderberry has an herbaceous stalk up here where it's growing leaves, and then it's woody down here.
Yeah.
Now, there's a plant that it gets mistaken for all the time, which will kill you in 48 seconds. Within a minute, if you even take a leaf and eat it. I can eat an elderberry leaf. It won't kill me. You're not supposed to. It's very full of toxins and stuff. But if I took a what do they call it? A water hemlock leaf. You've heard of hemlock. It will kill me. It's the most toxic plant in Florida from what I understand. But an elderberry, on the other hand, makes berries that are medicinal. Now you're still supposed to process everything, a little bit of heat, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And they sell the family name for this, I think, is sambuca. And they sell a medicine called sambuca. And it's just a syrup. A lot of sugar and a lot of elderberry. So anyway, elderberry, wonderful plant, antiviral. Yarrow growing? Somebody planted this. This is a water leaf. This is SEYLON spinach. You can totally eat that. That's an edible. We might pop maybe 5-10 leaves off of that to add to the stew, right? This is dog fennel. Dog fennel, grows back from its roots every year. I think it makes seeds. I only ever see it coming back from its roots, but it gets out of here some way. Dog fennel, if you have an open wound, from what I understand, is you can make a poultice of the stems and the leaves, and you end up making an antibiotic so you can keep yourself from getting infected. Because in the old days, an infection killed so many people. But now we've got 2 antibiotics sitting right here within walking, 10 steps of each other. White, actually it's the plant right here with all the stickers on it. Now those are hitchhikers, so they're not really stickers. But Biden's alba, it's not very tasty as a potter, but it is an edible potter when cooked. And it's an antibiotic. No, you can eat the flowers raw, they're tasty. Oh, you find lemongrass?
Yeah, just
So
I
this,
planted that.
oh, I know.
this you can just eat?
Yeah, go ahead and eat it. I mean, it's not the worst thing ever.
Is that lemongrass?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
So we can use a little lemongrass tomorrow.
Yes, for sure.
I'm surprised that he's digging it up. Now, a lot of this was planted here, so like, it's got to be one of the #1 bee forages in Florida.
Yeah.
Bees knock this out. And when you take out a Biden's alba, you're taking out so much habitat for a bee. Don't do that. Right before they start making lots of little seed pods, because these are the most annoying thing in the world, just go ahead and scythe it down. Leave the seeds for next year. They'll, a percentage of them will grow, and then the next thing you know, you got more Biden's alba. People are like, well, how do I control my weeds? Well,
We have so many of it.
so check it out.
Yeah, honestly, just let
There's
go.
the flower.
For what?
The cedar rhombifolia. See how it's on its own little stalk?
Oh, that's pretty.
That looks like it's coming out of the top of the plant, but generally they'll come out of the stem and everything just the same. It goes by the name Stachys floridana. As a matter of fact, here's one right here. The way I understand floridana, when a plant has the name of floridana, that means it's from the south. Because all of the south was called La Florida at one time.
Oh, Florida.
And the state of Florida is the last one. That was a juicy one. The state of Florida is the only thing that's kept the name. This right here is a wild grape, so this will be all over everything.
Yep.
Wild grapes.
It's a wild grape. Now, grape leaves are edible. You can make those, what do they call it? The Greeks make a stuffed rice.
Sometimes they grow right beside it.
And sometimes they grow, like, look at that. Look at that. You think that's poison ivy? No, that's not poison ivy. That's dewberry. I'm sorry. Sometimes these leaves can get so confusing.
Dewberry.
But that's dewberry again. There are a bunch of different dewberries. There are wild blackberry vine. Oh, beautyberry. Check it out.
Beautyberry.
Beautyberry. So this thing will shoot off stalks, and I'm looking to see if there was any. They might have harvested them. I see a lot of damage on the leaves here. But it'll throw off a stalk, and there'll be clusters of berries and groups, like maybe 100 berries and 100 berries. Maybe it's more like 50. And they turn a rich pink color, I want to say, almost purple. And people make jams and jellies out of them.
People make wine too.
Syrups and wine. They're not real tasty. You add a little bit of sugar and there's the flavor. So, maple. This is probably a Chinese tallow, which is considered an invasive. I always use the word considered because, I think that things might be invasive if they're in the wrong situation, but for the most part, what else is growing there? Nothing, right?
Those things that are mature and they're flowering, the pollinators.
The bees are all over that.
Sounds like a damn hurricane.
And by the way, nothing else is making anything for the bees at that time of the year.
Right,
I
yeah.
consider it a boon to humanity and all nature. You can pull a Virginia creeper out of the tree, pull all the leaves off just by doing brrrr, and you have a vine you can weave baskets with. And so I take Virginia creeper and I turn it into wreaths. I made a whole Christmas tree out of wreaths that just kept getting smaller as they went up, and I tied them together with foot-long pieces of string. And then when you lift it, it was like this, and hung it from the ceiling. And that way you wouldn't knock it over or trip over it. It was just hanging from the ceiling, and it was awesome. Here's a mulberry tree. Look at this thing. So this mulberry tree probably makes massive amounts of berries.
This is a huge mulberry.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, no, this is a small mulberry tree. Yeah, full-size mulberry trees look like an oak tree. They're huge. Native red mulberry that actually is an everbearing. But I think what it is they need a little more sunlight to create all that fruit because sugars come from the sun.
Yeah.
So these guys are better edge plants than they are inside a forest plant. Yeah. What happens with a forest though is a tree will fall down and something that doesn't normally grow in a forest will start growing because of the sunlight. So here's more elderberry.
For me. I'll catch up with you all in a minute. I'm gonna run and grab one quick thing.
Oh, sure.
Our cabin.
This is some good healthy, these are healthier cedar rhombifolias. You see how this is starting to look here? That's a lot healthier looking.
Oh, yeah.
Has a good flower on it. Take enough of these and boil them and a wax forms on the surface. You take the wax off and you make candles.
What?
Yeah, you can even, you can do what's called cure belaying leather. You can take leather and boil, not you, and you can boil it, you can drop it into hot wax and it makes it hard, and this is what medieval people used as, that's the third one. This right here is like a bay leaf that you would cook in sauces. And you don't eat it, you pull it back out, but it flavors your sauce.
Oh.
So, as a matter of fact, this is known to be an insect deterrent. They say that it'll keep mosquitoes off of you, but you can stand right here and a mosquito will land right on you. Okay, but what it is like regular bay leaves keep cockroaches out of your house. And I think that's what this one does.
murder.
If you put these on your counters, it keeps cockroaches away from your food. So some people, like if you have grains and things in bags sitting in a shelf, you can lay a bunch of wax myrtle leaves in there and then they won't get chewed through by cockroaches in the middle of the night when you're not looking. That's the theory. And I haven't put that to the test, but that's what people say. So you gotta go try it. But it's a nitrogen fixer and it grows where a lot of things don't grow. So yeah.
This is so beautiful here.
Because it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Oh, here's a
It's so beautiful.
I do believe.
What
Looks
is
like
it?
Yeah, it's got the serrations on the edge. See? Yeah.
What's it called?
Yelpon holly. That'll grow into a
Okay.
full-size tree. It's a wild Florida native. Wild Florida native.
Is that the holly that you were talking about
Yeah,
earlier
that's
today?
For
the tea, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I keep seeing them all up and down this thing here. Yeah, it goes. I understand it to be Ilex, which is all the holly. I want to say, Ilex vomitoria, because the natives used to make such a highly caffeinated, syrupy kind of tea out of it. In the mornings, they would drink it, and they would purge by vomiting because it would make them vomit.
Ugh.
Yeah, and this was before they went on a hunt, but they would actually projectile vomit and try to vomit the furthest.